Hi guys, it's Laree. In this video, I'm going to show you how to sew a blind hem stitch on knitted fabrics. I'm using my Baby Lock sewing machine, but if you have a machine with the same stitch, you can follow along with me. Wherever you live, the weather might be getting colder outside, and you might have some projects lined up that you want to make out of cozy knitted fabrics. I'm using this sock as an example, but you can use this stitch on anything that needs to be hemmed. And this is a good alternative for using a twin or double stitch needle for hemming. So I hope you enjoy, and here is how to sew the blind hem stitch on knitted fabrics. I'm going to sew a blind hem on this sock using the blind hem foot. And I'm going to take a look inside of the manual. So first of all, it says for method A, this is for heavyweight fabrics, and method B is for fine or medium weight fabrics. So I'm going to use method B. First thing it tells me is that number one, what this is showing as number one is the wrong side of the fabric. So the wrong side of the fabric should be facing up. Now I'm going to mark out some measurements here. So this is the wrong side of my fabric. I'm going to turn this over for a second onto the right side, and I'm going to mark, let's say 5/8 of an inch. Let's say 5/8 of an inch. The book doesn't tell me what measurements to make. I guess it depends on how much seam allowance in total you gave, or how much hem allowance you gave this for hemming the top of your garment, your sock, whatever it is. In this case, it's a sock. Okay, so I'm laying this out in the direction as if you were standing here and you were folding this. So this is exactly how you would follow this, with the sock facing you, and this is the edge. So I've marked that. I'm gonna turn that down by the markings I just made, 5/8 of an inch. Okay, these are it's gonna pop out. So I will just put this in here temporarily. I'm gonna put my tops of my pins this way because I'm gonna pull them out in a minute and reposition them. Now, if you have the type of fabric that you could iron, you'd want to iron at this point to make this crease. I am not going to attempt to iron this. This is supposed to be kind of light and fluffy and soft and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, and the next thing it says to do is to bring your fabric back over that edge. Over the edge, but not over your fold. So I'm going to mark something. Let's say that I marked 1 inch. I'm going to fold this back. Say I mark this by 1 inch. Okay, so what I'm using, guys, here is Taylor chalk. I really love it because it's not waxy. It's actually chalky. It's not going to leave a residue, and it's going to come off really nicely. You can actually find this in my Etsy shop, as well as a 12-inch ruler and a 1-inch ruler. But let's see, I'm gonna fold along this line, and I'm gonna bring that chalk line over the edge of this sock. I'm gonna bring it over the edge, but like I said, I'm not gonna cover that fold up. By the time I get done folding this is gonna be an ankle sock. So keep in mind, if you wanna do a blind hem on the machine, make sure you allow for plenty of folding space, hemming space, that's what it is, plenty of fabric for hemming. Kind of decide what's necessary for the weight and the thickness of the fabric that you're sewing, and make sure you include that in your pattern. Okay, I'm gonna bring this one a little bit closer. Alrighty. So that is done, that's pinned. Now I need to put this down on the sewing machine. I need to put on my blind hem foot, and there are some adjustments that I need to make. So on this foot, there is a little wheel, and if you turn this little wheel, it's going to move and slide this whole white piece in and out. And apparently, according to this, so if this goes inside your sewing machine, this is your blind hem foot. You're going to line up, I'm gonna do this on the sewing machine, but I'm just walking myself through this right now. You're gonna line up this edge of your foot with the second fold, and then you'll turn this wheel to match that fold. Okay, let's go to the sewing machine and I'll show you how to actually sew this now. I'm going to drop this presser foot by pressing that little lever. In my unboxing video, I show you exactly how to do that. Okay, and snap that right on there. And let's see, let me lift this needle all the way up so it clears this foot. What stitch do I need? So this tells me that the pattern selector should be on E or F. The presser foot is the blind hem foot. The tension is between 1 and 3. It says 3. And the stitch length is between 1 and 3, and this is showing 2. So I'll go ahead and put it on 2. So I have this on F. I have the stitch length on 3. And I have not changed this to the stretch setting. I'm going to do half of this, and I'm going to stitch half of this regularly, and then I'll stitch the other half with the stretch setting and see if there's a big difference. The manual does not say to do this exactly, but it does say that the needle needs to be in its furthest left position when you begin sewing. So that's what I'm going to do. There it is. So I had to turn my hand wheel a few times in order to get to that zigzag portion of this stitch. That also made my thread really long. Okay, and that's what I wanted. I want to turn until it starts to form the zigzag portion of the stitch. And when it's at its furthest left point, that is when I want to put my needle just on the edge. Just on the edge of that fold. Like, just taking a bit. And now I want to move this. I told you this little wheel. Move it until this white edge actually butts against this fold. Turn the wheel, turn the wheel. Am I turning it the right way? I don't think I am. Oh, there we go. And here's how it should look. See, it's not clamping down that fold, but it's just right next to it, and my needle is just right in the edge of that. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna change this to my stretch stitch. I'm gonna change this to my stretch stitch because I want to see how this works with my knit fabric and if it makes a difference in the end. Here we go. Of course, again, you gotta be patient with it because it's gonna do its back and forth thing. One thing I like about this machine already is that the feed dogs pull the fabric through evenly. I can explain that more later, but I like that. The fabric kind of splits off at the ends. Got a bit of unevenness down there, but that's okay Kind of did that in the beginning as well. Here is the regular stitch and here is the knit stitch. Let's see what I've got here. So this is the wrong side of my fabric. I need to turn this up. This is the right side. Turn it and separates. And what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to see only little pricks of the stitch on the opposite side. So this is how it's supposed to look. And you tell me, which end looks better? This side was not the stretch stitch. This was the regular stitch. And this side is the stretch stitch. Can you tell which one actually looks better and lays better? I'll give you my answer. The stretch stitch looks better on the opposite side. Now you can just imagine if this were the same color as the sock, it would look awesome. That would look great. But I did this in white so you guys can actually see the contrast. And on the opposite side, this is how things look. Now, for your own project, you can manipulate this folding to make this less, to make this more, to really make this work for whatever it is that you're doing. You'll have to play around with these folds and see what works best. I don't know, I kind of look at something like this and say, okay, maybe this was a waste of fabric. I could have done this a little bit more narrow. But yeah, I like that. And oh my goodness, look at that stretch. Yes, I like it a lot. I'll just go ahead and pin that together like so. That is super cute. And yes, I do prefer the stretch side rather than the regular side. I don't know, tell me in the comments, which side do you prefer? The regular stitching or the stretch stitching? Yes, I love that look, and it's so cute for a sock or for a cuff or anything. So cute. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you give this stitch a try, and I hope to sew with you soon. Bye.